Hello, you little munchkins. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news. Sometimes I try these weird intros and try and keep a straight face, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What is up, people? I hope you're all doing well. Let's get into the CSGO news, why don't we? And speaking of military service, I was going to talk about this in the future, revolving around other esports and their pro players. This time around, though, the one and only Ropz is apparently going to be set to, in December when he does turn 20, maybe have the eligibility for the Estonian army, which, by the way, when I say Estonian army, it just kind of sounds pretty scary. You start to picture people like Ropz that look even scarier, you know, more serious, more stern. And yes, apparently though, for a short story out there, guys, do not fear, do not be worried. Unlike past athletes out there in the esports scene, I think we have Forgiven from League of Legends. We also have Waylander from CSGO. They actually were forced to, or not necessarily forced to, I think at least one of them chose to serve their sentence anywhere from 8 to 11 months in military service. This time around though, for the Estonian army, you can actually pay upwards of 3,600 euros each and every year until Ropz turns 28. So for 8 years straight, he can pay 3,600 euros and avoid that military service, which is obviously the most likely outcome. Luckily enough for him and Mouse Sports, currently while he's on there, he can afford to pay that 3,600 euros, which I assume he will. So a bit of a non-story out there, but it is an ever imminent thing here for esports. A lot of athletes out there do face imminent military service. Ropz is one of them. Luckily for his country, he can actually withdraw from that and avoid eligibility by paying that small fine. On top of that, guys, a bit of a side story. I've talked about Neymar 3 to 4 times in the past with CSGO. Always enjoy it, as he's a good friend, apparently, of the MIBR squad. He's been playing with other pro football players out there in terms of playing CSGO. He has now shown his short highlight clip to the world on his Instagram, which, by the way, has 128 million followers. And so that clip, now approaching 1 million likes, has now garnered more views in the past day than this entire channel has in the past month. Thank you, Neymar, for the free publicity. I'm glad you enjoy CSGO. I'm glad all your football friends also do. It's great to see the Brazilian scene out there continue to be very strong. And this, by the way, is not helping the case for a possible Brazilian major. I mean, I'm not really against it too much. I think it'd be great to actually go to Brazil and actually be at the major itself. Obviously, it's a big meme out there, but when the best and one of the most popular football players in the entire world is now promoting CSGO directly on his Instagram, it just attunes more to the fact and the rumors out there that CSGO, we could be coming to Brazil. Sorry, I feel like whenever I mention Brazilian news out there, a certain side of me just gets a little bit unhinged. All right, I love you, Brazil. And anyway, moving on to our next story out there. Besides the GODSENT announcement, I'll talk about it in a minute or two. It's actually going to be Pro 100, that's Zeus's CSGO team. They have a main team as well as an academy team. For all of you guys who are not aware of this, Zeus is actually the president of that team. So a lot of us knew when he stepped down from Navi alongside Coach Kane, they'd be going back to work on Pro 100. That has now been confirmed. Obviously, Zeus would be. He has now announced, though, his friend Kane to be the coach of the Pro 100 Academy team. So a bit of a downgrade for a guy like Kane going from Navi to Pro 100 Academy, but either way, probably a pretty good improvement for those guys down there. Alongside that announcement, guys, also announced Zeus alongside C9, and I know you guys are going to make fun of the way I say his name as well. You know what? Bring it on today in the comment section. Apparently, those two guys will also help recruiting players to both the Academy and the main roster in the future. They have good eyes for talent, you'd have to assume, and so Pro 100 continues their business, and we will see if Zeus can make a major with a team that is not Navi. I'm excited to see if that actually can happen. And a very quick story brought to us by the lovely French man Nell. It's actually going to be apparently GODSENT signing a new roster. We've talked about them several times over the past probably 6 months or so. They were going to return. They did return. Pronax retires. Other players retire as well. You think the name is dead, and then it comes back again, and then it's not there, and then it's Team Ancient apparently with some of those former players as well. It was a confusing slew of issues. GODSENT is now returning to CSGO, guys, and apparently their roster, thanks to Nell, it's going to be the roster coached by Devilwalk, who also has Smash in their name. That's going to be Smash Esports potentially, and yes, that's Zen, that's Sticko, that's MAIKELELE. GODSENT MAIKELELE, this man who could not find a team for years, has now been moving on from Smash Esports apparently to GODSENT. I love it. I love to hear it. A pretty solid roster. I would love to see if they could actually also make the major. If you guys remember past major as well, this former Smash Esports roster, they were the Team Ancient majority roster, I do believe, and they had a decent opportunity if they could have kept a guy like Plopsky. This is a pretty decent roster. Now, GODSENT in their post, they did say contending with the top of the world teams might be a bit of a reach. But either way, I'm super excited to announce later this month, guys, that GODSENT roster will be returning to CSGO, and I'll break it down back here again, guys, if it is the Smash Esports lineup. And two last stories for all of you guys out there. It's going to be INTZ now signing Boltz to the roster in place of Destiny. I'm sure a lot of you guys do remember a couple months back after our last major, they did lose Kane, a pretty big blow to that roster as everyone did see it coming. I do think, though, Boltz coming back to the roster and replacing Destiny has to be a pretty big improvement on paper. So we will see come next major when they are back in the minors if this team can actually manage to represent Brazil again and make their second consecutive major. They certainly have to have a chance. Obviously, losing KNG is a big blow, but Boltz is, I think, a very good pickup here for this roster. Also, very lastly, for all of you guys, in some pretty big news out there, especially for French fans, that's going to be Vitality. It's great to see amidst all those top organizations. If you guys did miss our video yesterday on this, the evaluations, I always say that wrong, the valuations of all the esports organizations out there, our top 13 in the world have now come out. Vitality was not on that list, but it's great to see amidst all those top esports organizations, there are still many below them like Vitality raising a lot of money. They have now raised $34 million, or euros, I should say, in funding across the past year or so, across 2 rounds of funding. So they have now announced that it is now closed. 34 million euros going in the hands of Vitality, raising through investments. It's great to see them actually drawing that money in, especially because their League of Legends team is very expensive to run. Shocks is very expensive to acquire, and so a lot of that investment money is going to those 2 rosters. I wish Vitality the best of luck in the future. I just hope that 34 million euros is enough to keep them around for quite some time. Until next time, I hope you guys all enjoy the breakdown of CSGO news. My name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy. Lately, I've been the CSGO news videos, they've been kind of intertwined with a lot of esports and gaming news. It seems like this channel is finally going in the direction that I wanted it to. I just wish you CSGO people would still watch me. I hope you guys still do. Until next time, take care. I'll see you guys back here all day long. Bye.